Burnout stripped away everything I thought made me a good mom. And what's left now is this version of motherhood that is lighter and slower and honestly just so much happier. Burnout became the wake up call that really made me mother differently. And if you are exhausted right now, this might just be the roadmap back for you. I'm Cassie. I have 3 kids. I'm married to Derek, and I hit burnout about 4 years ago, and it was as real as you can imagine. Anyone who hasn't experienced burnout before, you kind of just can't keep going. It's different than survival mode where you're just keep going, bare minimum, you feel tired, but you're still running. Burnout stops everything because you don't have a choice. You're completely burnt out. And when I hit that point, it was a very slow process of realizing I needed to kind of start over, rebuild motherhood differently than I had done it the past 12 years. By that point, I had been mothering for a long time. I was a stay-at-home mom, and I had kind of just run myself ragged, and I realized no longer could I live on fumes, run on fumes, right? This constant exhaustion was not sustainable. I learned that the hard way. And so that really took away so many of the things that I normally would do and that I thought a good mom needed to do, like cooking from scratch or having dinner look a certain way, or even having the house look a certain way, a certain level of cleanliness. Even my parenting, I was constantly trying harder, trying to do it more like this book said or more like this other mom that I knew. And I never felt like it was good enough, and I never felt like I was making enough progress or working hard enough. And so I really did start all the way over. And it's hard for us because in our culture, we're constantly seeing all these new things that we should be doing, right? There's this new book, or there's this new chore chart, or man, I just stumbled upon this awesome girl on Instagram who preaches all these awesome things and it's working great for her kids, and so I should start doing that. We're constantly consuming so much information, good information, that it can leave us feeling very overwhelmed all the time. And that the never-ending to-do list, that is a real thing for every mom I've ever known, we're only adding to that. And we're never making headway, because even if we figure something out and it's working well for us, it's only a matter of time before we feel this pressure to change it or to do something that's even better. And that cycle is what I was constantly in. And it's easy to tell ourselves, well, that's what we're here to do. We're here to progress. We're here to grow, right? We as Christian moms certainly know that we want to be our absolute best. And yet we don't realize that this constant kind of guilt that we live in, convinced that we're never enough, is actually eating away at the very confidence that God wants us to have in our motherhood. He wants us to know and see everything He knows and sees, which is that we're amazing. And He gave us strengths and weaknesses and personalities that should absolutely come out in our mothering. And when I realized that, it was awesome to have that awareness, and yet I still was kind of like, okay, how do I really apply this? Right here, I've had this awesome wake-up call that like, okay, all this pressure isn't good for me. All of this burden isn't actually necessary. Life is meant to be hard. It's always going to be hard. We know that. This is mortality. We're here to suffer some pain, and that's part of the plan. But there was all this kind of unnecessary suffering that I was experiencing that I had to figure out how to kind of get rid of that. And it's all that kind of drama and all those stories that I was telling myself every single day, basically that I wasn't enough and that I could never quite figure things out. And oh, it's so easy for this other mom. What's wrong with me? That was the unnecessary suffering that I needed to figure out. And so I just kind of got to work on it. And part of it was really praying for God to show me whatever He saw in me, whatever He kind of blessed me with, just that divine nature that was within me. And then it was learning the skills to actually apply that to my life. And with my cooking, with my homemaking, with my parenting. The very relevant categories, I would say, of our motherhood is where I kind of started getting to work. Like, this really works for me. This really doesn't work for me. And instead of beating myself up about that thing that doesn't work for me, I can just stick with what does work for me. There doesn't have to be all this judgment. And that is what pulled me out of the burnout. It would be easy to really stay stuck in that without taking the breath and kind of the pause to really get to work on making some adjustments, making some changes. So now I truly enjoy my kids because I have taken it upon myself that it's my responsibility to take care of myself and to meet my own needs so that I can be in a place of abundance when I'm with my family. I'm not waiting for somebody else to give me permission to rest. I'm not waiting for somebody to recommend that I take a break. If I need a break, I take a break. If I need some time, I take that time. And it's really hard to rewire that because it's so ingrained. We want to be selfless. Motherhood is sacrifice, right? We sacrifice our bodies, for crying out loud, to have this baby, and it just keeps going that way, right? There's only a few blueberries left. You're going to give up yours for somebody else, right? Like, that's just by nature who we are, and it's a beautiful thing. We want to be selfless, but not to the point of complete self-neglect. And so I'd say that was my first key thing when I was in burnout, because the problem is you're so tapped out. Unfortunately, there's not many options other than to replenish somehow. And so a lot of things get put on the back burner in order to just build up your reserves. And so I had to learn for the very first time really what worked for me in terms of self-care. And we hear self-care and it's like, oh my gosh, that's enough. Like, I'm not going to go get a pedicure, or I can't just take 2-hour long bath every day. But self-care is so different than those like stereotypical things. It's a matter of really figuring out what clicks for you to feel like you're a person and to feel like you are an individual who has preferences, has things that you enjoy, and things that really fill you up instead of drain you. We might think scrolling is the ultimate self-care. Like, that's all I want to do. Sit and veg or watch a show or something else, which is okay, but really check with yourself, is this refilling me? Like, is this fueling me to then really feel motivated and ready to tackle my mom stuff? For me, it turned into just a simple evening routine. So I have fulfilled all my responsibilities. I'm not neglecting anything, but I have this kind of unwinding routine and rhythm where I light a candle. I love candles. Who knew? I had no idea. I love candles, so I'll light a candle. I found some playlists that I just love, a certain kind of vibe of music that really just helps me relax. Showering at night is my preference, and I allowed myself to do that. Just those little things that make all the difference, because you're not just continuously making the conscious choice to put all that aside in the name of responsibility or in the name of sacrifice. It's just not necessary, nor is it sustainable. So finding those little ways that really just take care of you. And that's not to say other people shouldn't do nice things for you. It's not to say that I do not hope so badly that you have a supportive husband. All those things are true, and it doesn't take away the responsibility for us to really take care of ourselves. And once we're doing that, then we can kind of rebuild motherhood. What time of the day do I feel most energized? What time of the day can I just not even go anymore? Those energy fluctuations should be very relevant. Have less on the plate on those lower times, or come up with a way to maybe raise that a bit, because out of necessity you have to keep going. So okay, maybe I turn on this certain music to get through that dinner hour because I really do need to show up for my family. Or consistently, dinner is just so hard. What if in this season we use paper plates? yeah, I'm not stoked about the budget, or yeah, on principle, I want my kids to learn this and this. That's fine. But in this season, what if you just let those things go and decided you can be a good mom and use paper plates for a couple months? Or use a lot of pre-made freezer meals from the store. All those decisions with the meals, with the housework, with the parenting, you need to be utilizing the wisdom within your stewardship. We can be wise stewards of our, not only our homes, but of our own energy and our own capacity. Those are very relevant. And I really was able to tap into that and change the trajectory of my whole motherhood. And now my relationship with my kids is better than it ever has been. My relationship with my spouse, I couldn't imagine a better dynamic and a better relationship, all because of choices that I made personally. I didn't even need to get other people on board. I didn't need to make this whole thing that, okay, I'm going to be changing things. We just naturally do it, and it blesses everybody, including us, of course. I do have a quiz. It's on my website. I'll link it. That it's just 6 simple questions. It will take you maybe a minute to tell you what your homemaking vibe is. And that's what all of this is talking about. It's your preferences, what really suits your God-given wiring. He made you the way he did on purpose. And instead of deciding that that's a bad thing or that there's something wrong with you, you can realize that you're amazing and that he wants you to realize how amazing you are. I know that you are amazing. It's not a matter of mothering like me or anyone else you're seeing. It's just a matter of mothering like you.